Hi, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker. Kim, why don't you tell our audience what we're going to be talking about today?
Brian's going to kill me because I never do what he wants me to do. We're actually recording a lot of podcasts today just to get ahead of things because we're traveling. And this episode, we're going to be talking about Car Care Month. It's the fall. Trying to get ahead, give some people some good information.
Yep, and it's something that you don't seem to hear a whole lot about, but it's still a thing. When we had it, we were able to successfully use that in marketing our shops, and it's still a great way to get people into the shop.
Yeah. And you do still hear about it. I mean, I feel like it's pretty widespread now. It's pretty well adopted, though there are still some shops who are not. So we hope that this helps you.
But before we get too far in, let's talk about our sponsor for a second. So thank you to our friends at Repair Pal for providing this episode. Repair Pal is the key that unlocks more business for your auto repair shop. Learn more at repairpal.com/shops. So, okay, we talk about Car Care Month, but there's actually two of them. There is National Car Care Month, which is April, and then there's Fall Car Care Month, which is October.
Yep.
And as we record this right now, we are about to be coming into October. It's a great way to bring awareness to auto repair.
Yeah, it's still a good time to talk about it. Even though this podcast, it might come out in early October, so you can really implement any of these ideas at any time throughout the month of October. But it's really not as much about repair as it is maintenance. It's all about educating your consumers, which, you know, if you're a shop listening to this podcast, I kind of put you in the upper echelon of auto repair shops because that tells me that you're smart and you're ahead of the ball and you're educating yourself, and really super smart because you're listening to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. But, you know, you're probably already educating your clients, but there will still be some great takeaways that you can have with this. And we found that when we started implementing this type of education and helping our community, and even it presented us as an expert in our field, there were so many good things that came from it, and our customers trusted us. We like to talk about helping your customers get to know, like, and trust you. This is one of those ways that you can do that.
Now, at our shop, of course, we did the entire month as Car Care Month. So, we did a lot of different things throughout the month to get people into the shop, but, we also held an event. And if you've listened to the podcast, then you probably know that when it comes to events, Kim does not do anything simply. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about kind of what we did at our shop for the Car Care Month.
Yeah. So like Brian said, I love just being organized and doing things, and I'm great at planning stuff. So events was very natural for me. And I don't remember, but it was just one of the industry events that we got involved with that really brought to our attention. Again, keep in mind, this was like 20 years ago, 20 years ago, but brought to our attention the whole thing about National Car Care Month or Fall Car Care Month, which honestly, they're both very similar. It's just about it's giving you an opportunity as a shop owner to educate your customers about maintaining their vehicles. And so the very first event that we did really wasn't a big deal. We did a very simple kind of check lane sort of thing. We had inspection forms that we would go through and fill out. Yes, I said form, like paper and pencil. It was a long time ago.
We didn't have the luxury of digital vehicle inspection back then.
Yeah, that didn't exist. And so, we just did the bare basics as far as an event goes, but it didn't matter. And so when you listen to all the things that I'm going to throw out there that we did, I don't want anyone to think that you have to put on this big, extraordinary event.
Really, because the first one we did may have been simple.
Yeah.
But the subsequent ones were not.
Right. So we're big believers of just starting small. Do what you need to get going. And that's why a lot of times you'll hear us saying things like, we will often reference done is better than perfect. So the first event really it was on a Saturday, and it was like a drive-through sort of inspection, and we didn't charge for anything. Everything was free. We promoted it that way. It was literally come in, let us, check over these items for you, so that when people left, they knew kind of the condition of their vehicle. So that was a successful event. I think that if I remember correctly, we probably wished that we had more people there. But it was, sometimes the first time you do things, you just have to stick with it and keep going.
And I think that we also, on that very first one, it was one of those things where it kind of snuck up on us, and it was like, oh, okay, but it's car care month, and I do not remember if it was April or October for that first one, but we just did it to do it, to kind of get that experience, and then we were able to see how people reacted to it, what the whole experience was like, and then plan for something bigger and better for the next time around.
Well, and also keep in mind that we didn't have social media. We didn't have any of the new age kind of digital modern marketing. So we relied a lot on things like this. So when the opportunity presented itself, just like it may for some of you that maybe you've heard of it before, maybe you haven't, you just haven't done it before, but you're listening now and it's already October maybe, and you're thinking, well, I'm just going to wait till next year. No, don't wait till next year. Done is better than perfect. Put something quick together, and it doesn't have to be on a Saturday. I mean, you can pick and choose. I mean, maybe you do it every Tuesday, the month of October. Maybe you pick a Friday and do it. Do what works for you and your shop.
Well, in this podcast, it's evergreen, so there will be a lot of people listening that are not necessarily coming up on the month, and they will actually have plenty of time to plan it. But I also don't want to get lost in the whole the event, and we're going to talk about the event, which is just a car care clinic, which I'm sure that all of you have heard about. We're going to talk about that, but it is an entire month, so the car care clinic should be something that you do. The month should kind of lead up to that car care clinic, but it's just one piece of it. So what are some of the things, and we're going to get into detail about the event kind of as we grew into it, into the big event that was probably way too overcomplicated, but it was still a great event. And it was amazing for our clients. It was amazing for some of our friends in business, and it was great for us.
It just wasn't amazing for Brian.
So, well, I'm a little bit of an introvert if you don't know that about me. But
too much peopling.
Anyway, let's just talk about the month in general. So, car care month, what are some of the things that people should be doing in car care month?
Yeah, so there's a lot. And the thing about it is you have to pick what's going to work for you, what appeals to you, maybe your own style, your own personality. But I'm just going to run through a list of some things, and I'm open to these conversations. So if you want to chat offline about it, reach out. I love talking about this stuff. So some of the things that you can do, being super fortunate to be in the age that we're in now with all things online. Let me first start, though, with the things that are not necessarily online. So don't forget about things like a press release that you literally send out to the local media, whether if you're in a big city or a smaller rural sort of area, there's a newspaper, there's magazines, there's different, the Chamber of Commerce, send out a news release letting people know what you're doing. If you're going to host an event, that would be a separate sort of news release where you're inviting the media to come out to your event.
And that reminds me, we need to do an episode on press releases, because there's so much value in a press release, even from an SEO standpoint. So I just made a note about that, and be looking for that episode, because a press release it's a it's a pretty cool tool when you use it right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of times where I search for something and it brings up a press release. So, don't forget about the non-digital media stuff. Even the guerrilla marketing kind of tactics where you're printing things and handing them out at different events, or going to the local school and getting schools involved and putting it in kids' backpacks. Some schools will let you do that. And then there's also, the like flags that you can put out in front of your shop that signify it's car care month, whether it's spring or fall. So there's all those things you can do, but let's also talk about the digital things that you can do. So that press release can go on your website in the form of a blog, creating an event on your website, a banner, like a temporary banner across the top of your website. I know we did something like that for Mavert earlier this summer when he had his Mavert customer appreciation event. And that was a cool thing that we did for him, and he really liked that. But then creating an event on your Facebook page, and the whole month really breaking apart all of the different tips that you might have for consumers when it comes to taking care of your car and doing maintenance, and always following the recommended guidelines, and breaking apart the tips, but also educating people on the different types of things that you'll be checking in the inspection. What are some things people might be checking over in the inspection that you could educate your audience on?
Well, I mean, really everything in the inspection is something that you can educate them on. One of the things that I really like to do, and I think is a part of car care month in general in educating the client, is rather than just doing the inspection and bringing them a report, during that month, try inviting your clients back into the shop and do the inspection with them. Now, some of them are just not going to be interested. That's not for everyone. But for the ones who are interested, when you bring the client back there and you go through that inspection with them and they feel like they're part of the process, when you show them, when they see the report in the end, they're much more open to receiving, they're much more receptive of the report and doing the work that needs to be done on the car, because they were actually part of the inspection process.
There's two things I love about that. One is that sometimes they may have a kid with them. Mm-hmm. So you're now educating and maybe even recruiting a future workforce, some kid who's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And now you've piqued their interest, and they may be interested in the industry. But the other thing is, we hear so often how shops get a bad name, mechanics or this, or technicians or that. And as a whole, we want to elevate the industry. And so when you're talking about Car Care Month, you're able to say that as a whole, we're participating in this together. There are shops across the country who are doing the same thing. And so those are all things that you can be including. There's an incredible amount of videos that are already out there that you can be sharing, or creating your own, which you should definitely do. But also just sharing these things all throughout the month, helping to elevate the industry, pulling from information that already exists. It doesn't have to be difficult. A lot of people don't want to participate in these kinds of things because they think it's overcomplicated, when really they're overcomplicating it themselves, because they think they have to not necessarily recreate the wheel, but create the wheel. You don't. It's already there. There's so many tools. I know that we're going to put in the show notes some links to some things that are already online, and they might be it might look a little bit outdated, the sites, but the information that you have there is still really good. And even if you take that as inspiration for ideas to go create your own video, or to jump into Canva, the tool that we love to use for social media, and create some graphics. I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look. I think that we may even have some Car Care Month graphics that are editable that we've shared with shops to be able to take and use for themselves. So,
I know we have them that we use for our own clients. I
right.
don't know if we've ever packaged them up as a giveaway.
Feel like we have. I'll need to look, but these are all things that not only are you sharing it on social media, but it's great to put in your email campaign. In fact, there was an email campaign that we did for a shop in Georgia last spring car care month. And I forget the shop software that we used for them or the CRM tool that we used. And that whole entire email was 100% all about spring being car care month. And it could totally be done in the fall as well because it's so similar. And that email yielded $36,000 of return because they were able to track it and see how many people clicked to make an appointment for that month through that email. So put it in your email, put it in social, put it on your website. We've run ads. What am I missing? I mean, there's more to it.
Another great thing that you can do, because we literally were talking about this past week for one of our clients. So many shop owners do not want to do specials. They don't want to do coupons or anything like that. And I don't blame them. I don't want to discount my services either. I think that it's ultimately it can be a bad thing to do. But when you instead give away something that you really would have done anyway for free, in this case, you give away your multi-point inspection, and you do it in the name of Car Care Month. So, because you put your special out there saying, because October is Fall Car Care Month, we're doing our 59-point inspection at no charge, and it gives people the opportunity to bring their car in. People are going to be going to see family at Thanksgiving, maybe traveling for Christmas or something like that, and it gives them the opportunity to bring their car in and get it inspected to see what kind of condition it is in. And rather than them thinking, oh, well, they're only doing that so that they can, find things wrong with my car, they now look at it as, oh, they're doing that because it's Fall Car Care Month. So, it's a great way to run a promotion without discounting your services. And, people will like that.
Yeah, so something that you said triggered for me something that we did for our event. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. And when I say the event, like the big event, and once we did this one, it was more comfortable because we had done it. So we did it in other times of the year as well for different purposes, different types of events. But our Car Care Month event, we did this one on a Saturday, and because I'm an all-in kind of person and I get a bit neurotic, and my nickname is Queen of Connections, and so I want to bring all our friends into it and give them a chance to get involved, and I love connecting people. It became kind of a circus in a good way, right? So we had people would pull up, and we had entertainment. We had the big inflatable bouncy house.
It's a spacewalk, Kim. It's a spacewalk.
We just had this argument in our team office chat, and I'm pretty sure the poll showed that the winner was bouncy house.
It is now. It's one of those funny. I don't know if spacewalk is a Louisiana thing or if that's just a show my age thing, because when we were kids, inflatables were all those blue and orange square thing that you got inside of and you jumped, and that was it. There was nothing special about it, but we called it a spacewalk.
I don't know.
And I don't know if it's a Louisiana thing, because we got some weird things here. We call inspection stickers brake tags. We call the median, the grassy area between the lanes of the road that go different directions. We call that a neutral ground. That's the neutral ground in Louisiana. So, I don't know.
Brian is the one usually fussing at me for talking about crazy stuff that has nothing to do with the topic. But you reminded me that we had this conversation. I had this conversation with Jen Reinflesh in one of our previous episodes, and it was very funny because we're doing work for her, and there was something that we referenced. I don't remember if it was a tool or a piece of equipment or something, but in our social media post, we called it this, but she's like, we do not call it that up here in Connecticut. And
You can't leave
she
us
was
hanging
laughing.
and not know what it was
We
that we
don't.
were talking
She
about.
and I both couldn't remember what the thing was. So, anyways, what was I talking about? The event. So
Yeah,
the
we were talking
bouncy
about
house.
the
the
bouncy
bouncy house. So they pulled up, and they would get out of their vehicle, and of course, our technician would walk through all the things on the vehicle with them. What I left out was
Well, we
where
brought it
they
in the shop and put the vehicle up on a lift.
right, that's what I'm saying, where they pulled in. We were really proud of this area where you would pull your vehicle in, because there was this incredible mural on the wall, and our shop was just really it was a very cool shop. And so they pull the car in, technician would go through everything with them, but when all of that was done, keep in mind that they're engaging with our team members. So again, we're talking about know, like, and trust. So they're getting to know the technician. They're learning to trust our company because of that engagement and that experience that they had. And so once all of that was done, the other parts that actually made the event fun and memorable and something worth talking about was obviously the bouncy house, but we're from Louisiana, so you have to have food at everything. So we always had food, and we would invite our friends who owned restaurants to, come set up. And you do all the, it's all about relationships. So we didn't pay for all this stuff. It was a marketing opportunity for our friends in business as well. So they often would set
And
up
these were
their
all people from our BNI group.
Yeah, it was definitely our BNI group.
BNI groups.
Because Brian was in a group and I was in a group. So we kind of tapped into both of those, and it just made things really great for us. And as far as connections go and resources. So we had that. I've had the Mary Kay lady there before, setting up, like doing nails. Nobody's there to be salesy. Everybody's there to be helpful, to provide a service, and get to know people.
Oh, we had the chiropractor there doing chair massages.
We did. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I think we're combining events now, maybe. Maybe we had all of this at one event, but these are just things to get you thinking, who do you know? I know that our friend Kenny Weedo at Fine Tuned, his brand new shop literally is next door to a coffee shop. So, look at who you're around, who is nearby that you can kind of partner with and invite them to be part of your event. The radio station came out before, and I think that we even combined it one time with a car club who brought like these really cool vehicles. We had all those feather flags out there. Entertainment, we've had music before.
But don't miss the part about Car Care Month being an educational thing. So don't just have your technicians bring the car in the back and do an inspection and then bring a report to the client.
Mm-hmm.
That happens, every other day of the year that you're open. You want to bring, like, the client needs to be involved in the process. You need to get them back in the shop. You need to have them working with your technician, which is a great way for them to interact with your staff and get to know other people besides your service advisor, and start to build other relationships there. But get them, under the hood of the car, looking at things with the technician, so that when the technician finds something, they can say, hey, this is what, I'm seeing, this is what I'm looking for, this is why this is a problem. And then the sales that you will get off of those inspections that are done that way are going to be way more than the ones that you do on a regular basis where the client is not back there in the shop with the tech.
They're going to come to you months after. You may not experience appointments on that day or the next day, but they're going to remember what you did and how you took the time to care for them and that sort of thing. And then don't forget, which I don't think you would, but you really want, companies coming over. That's what we say in the South.
Yeah.
Companies coming. So
Clean up.
clean up, make sure that things are organized and it's looking good around there, and just kind of put your best foot forward. Don't forget, if it applies, depending on what you're doing, bring in a photographer. A lot of times we had customers who, um, who were professional photographers. They needed work done on their cars, so we'd trade those services. Invite them to come to the event, take pictures, put it up after the event on a photo album on your Facebook page, and email that out, and just make the most of every single opportunity that you have to go through that entire month. And no matter what we're talking about, whether it's October or if you're listening to this in the spring, again, there's National Car Care Month, which is April, and then there's Fall Car Care Month, which is October. So, and they're so similar. You can really do either one of those. And then one more tip is, don't forget to do some live videos before the event. Kind of do a tour of the shop, tell them what's going to be happening, what they can expect at this event. Do some live videos during the event, even if it's just a short 5-10 second thing and you're just showing what's happening. These are all things that will have a life for a really long time. So if you're looking for additional resources, we're going to put some links in the show notes. We were very fortunate back in our time that we had, some of these links might look a little outdated, but again, it's the information that's in there that's super valuable. It was originally, and I don't think they're calling it this anymore, but it was the Be Car Care Aware. Honestly, for me, I'd still call it that, even if it's not an active campaign necessarily. There's nothing wrong with still saying.
It's done by the Car Care Council, and the Car Care Council is part of the Auto Care Association.
Right.
And the Auto Care Association, their website and everything is much more up to date than the Car Care Council website. But just go to carcare.org. Again, that'll be in the show notes. But look, one other thing, let's just be real. It doesn't have to be one of those months to do a car care clinic. You can do it any day of the year. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Maverick did stuff like that at their customer appreciation event in June. Yeah. I mean, you can do what you want when you want it. It's America.
But, the idea of it being a month allows you to turn your promotions into a month-long event. Now, of course, that doesn't, Kim celebrates her birthday all month. She's
that has nothing to do with this.
It has everything to do with it. It's an event.
It's your birthday month right now.
It is my birthday month. So, all right. Well, Kim, tell people how to get in touch with us.
Okay. However you want to. So if you are trying to reach us, whether it's to tell us, hey, I love your podcast, or your podcast sucks and I want to hear about this topic, or whatever, you can find us on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on our website at shopmarketingpros.com, which, by the way, if you add /book, you can read and get all kinds of information about Brian's book that he wrote, The Ultimate Guide to Auto Repair Shop Marketing. We'd also love to have you in our Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook and you do a search for Auto Repair Marketing Mastermind, you'll find our group. Click join, answer a couple of questions, and I'll personally let you in, and we would love to have you engage in there. Word on the street is we're giving away pizza once a month to the most engaged user in our group. So come check it out. See some other shop owners in there and what they're doing when it comes to marketing their repair shop.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast on Aftermarket Radio Network. There's some other great shows on the network, and you can find them at aftermarketradionetwork.com or on your favorite podcast listening apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many others. Tune in for another episode next week, and until then, go fill those bays.